Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Today is Thursday, October 6, 2022, and it is Thankful Thursday. And so we're going to be very specific today and intentional about expressing some gratitude this morning. And we just need to. I'll just speak for myself. I need to see some gratitude and some folks, you know, what folks would call positive vibes and what's good in the hood and what's going on in your life. So let's just share that this morning. Let's go in and see who's in this morning. Sister Soraya, good morning. It was good to see you on Saturday. I got a nice picture of you and the mayor I need to post. Rena, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Thank you for that post you put up this morning. Heidi, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Hopefully you'll have fun this evening at the Boston Wild Black event. Stacy, good morning. Once again, if I did not thank you, I think this is the first time we're on air together. Thank you so much for holding down the refreshments on Saturday and just stepping in and doing what you did and serving and helping. Thank you so much. Pastor Marion, good morning to you and great Thankful Thursday to you as well. Dina, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Also, again, Rena is saying good morning and praying all is well. Sharon Cornelius, good morning. Didn't forget you this morning. Paula, good morning. Auntie Paula, good to see you in the room. Nicole, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. And also Pastor Marion, and along with others, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. Let me know or drop in the comments. We don't do this as much as we used to. I used to always ask you to drop something in the comments. But drop one word or something in the comments that lets me know why you are thankful this morning. Deidre, good morning. Good to see you in the room. So yesterday, Kelly, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. Good morning to you. You all do me a favor and go ahead and hit that share button and invite somebody into the Java Cafe. We're going to be intentional about thankfulness this morning, but we're also going to continue the conversation around public safety. It is definitely something that we need to keep in the forefront of our when it comes to participating in dialogue, sending ideas and suggestions. And so I'm actually going to ask you all to engage around that as well in a couple of seconds. And Deidre said she is thankful for life. Me as well. I guess I'll go ahead and be the first person since I'm asking you all to do it. My thankfulness or my thankful word this morning is temperance. And if you know what temperance means, let's get the Webster's definition. Hey, Siri, look up the word temperance. I like this definition. According to, well, this is knowledge. This isn't I need this Wikipedia. Let me go to Google and see what Google says. But I'm thankful for temperance. My own understanding of temperance and this definition here talked about voluntary self-restraint. And I'm so glad that I was I'm so glad that I am able to do that and move in the space of voluntary self-restraint. As I've said before and said yesterday, just like I have some opinions about some of our community leaders and elected officials. And as Rena told me the other day, I am so Thaddeus. Oh, I can't say. So I called him, or Thaddeus called me yesterday, or the day before, and he was very affirming in some spaces and some things that I was thinking about. And here he comes here and helps me practice even more temperance about saying, good morning, thankful for some constructive criticism I received Tuesday evening. What a blessing. And so that is a good side of criticism. But as I was getting ready to say that, when you're, as Rena said the other day, that, I'm a public figure, I'm subject to critique as well. And it ain't always, there go Rena. It isn't always constructive. And so, I became aware of an opinion. Is it an opinion? Yeah, an opinion, an opinion yesterday. And it kind of, almost got me in my feelings. And I'll be honest with y'all, I typed one of them subliminal post rather, and they would know who I'm talking to. They would see it. Just like someone hit me to their comment, someone would probably hit them to my post. And so I did about 3 or 4 of them and then deleted. I didn't post them, but I typed it out and thought about it and then deleted them. And just really understanding that even to some point of giving it this space here, it is maybe giving it some attention, but the good part about that is, and the black joy that I thought about that yesterday, like my black joy is with all that's going on. And there's some things that I'll share with you in a few minutes that's going on with the platform that, I'm just thankful for temperance this morning. And so let's look at the definition. What did temperance mean? Why can't you just get a definition? So it comes from the Latin word temper, and it talks about how it evolved and all of that. And where is the daggone definition? What did temperance mean? Scudamation. Excuse me. And the first word in here is moderation in action, thought or feeling, restraint. Habitual moderation in the indulgence of the appetites or passions, moderation in or abstinence from the use of alcohol beverages as an example. So temperance, one of the other definitions said voluntary restraint. So that's my thankful word for this Thankful Thursday. Let's go in. Come on, y'all. I need to see some more thankfulness in there. Thaddeus said he's thankful for constructive criticism. Pastor Marion said, ask Siri for biblical. All right, let's do it. Hey, Siri, what's the biblical definition for temperance? First thing it said was abstinence from alcoholic drinks. No communion, no wine. It really didn't give one from a biblical standpoint, Pastor Marion. Y'all know I'll do stuff in real time. Naraki, so if y'all are friends with Naraki and follow her, I don't know where you was or what you did this weekend or what you were doing, but Naraki had some fire pictures up on her profile. If you didn't see him, go check them out. Dolled up. Okay. Thaddeus is also saying, what do they say? Don't worry about the criticizing from people you wouldn't ask for. I like that. Don't they say, what do they say? Don't worry about the criticizing from people you wouldn't ask for advice. Just saying. I like that. All right, y'all, come on with some thankfulness. I get to typing and God will say, take it down. You better than this. Absolutely. Temperance. That's one of the fruit of the spirit. Fruit or gifts. Fruit of the spirit. One of the demonstrations of the fruit, because there's only one fruit, not fruits. We're not going to have Sunday school right now. And Rena, thank you so much for reminding me of that. So let me ask, and good morning to Daryl Drumright from Tennessee listening in. Good to see you in the room, brother. So I want to ask you also, we're going to have like a working meeting right now real quick. How do you define public safety? What does public safety mean to you? Please put that in the comments. What does public safety mean to you as an individual? As much as we're community focused and we may get to typing and thinking about overall on our young people and domestic violence and trans women, for you, what does public safety actually mean? Evelyn, good morning. So I said a few minutes ago that I wanted to share some things that, percolating as far as with the platform and who pops in. but someone that's looking out and has some great ideas. And so I'm going down to the Boston Public Library GBH studio tomorrow to meet and talk with Evelyn and see, you know, what the possibilities are happening there. And then also in the last, I'll say, week or so, I've had 2 conversations about going back on radio. And so I'm in the valley of decision around a couple of things. And yeah, so just wanted to put those out there and ask you all to keep me in prayer around next steps. When I was in Miami in that water, it's just, anyway, let me stay focused. So share that with you all, got that off the plate. Public safety, let's talk about that for a few minutes. How do you define public safety? Let's have a conversation about that. Heidi is defining for us what temperance is self-control. That's basically what it is. Mother Maddie is in the room. Good morning. Good to see you in the room. Loving this coming out and addressing real issues. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Evelyn, definitely let's get it. I'm looking forward to it. Miss Teresa, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Dina is saying that her definition of public safety is feeling safe in public, in my community, on the streets, and in buildings. Sister Mary Marie Doubleday, good to see you in the room. Good to see you in the room this morning. Hopefully things are well where you are, and we are doing our best to keep you connected to things that are going on in Boston. We're talking about public safety this morning. And so, Marie, even from your standpoint, where you are, what do you all define as public safety? Dina said feeling safe in public. Dina, let me ask you to go a little bit deeper. What makes you feel safe? And a lot of times when we think of public safety, fortunately, well, not fortunately, but we tend to move to like youth, gang, and retaliatory, violence when we talk about public safety, but it's bigger than that. And so I'm trying to find out from you, what do you all define as public safety? And then we're going to talk about how we get there. I have some ideas, but I want to hear from you. How do we get there as far as being safe when we're in the public? Is it just in the public, or is it, Dina, refers to, she said feeling safe in public. And she also referred to buildings. And so does that include our home? Unfortunately, there are break-ins, there are incidents where, shootings have impacted people's homes. Don't want to be too, deep and re-traumatize anybody, but we need to have this conversation. Evelyn is saying, where your neighborhood comes together and communicate, it takes. Evelyn, you were not on here yesterday, and we talked about the village. That the village approach is interesting, and I made the statement that the village is broken. And so, but Evelyn is saying where your neighborhood comes together and communicate, it takes a village. That is just saying the ability to walk freely without my antenna going up, like I feel in many countries. Wow, that's interesting to be here. And that is so loaded, because the antenna can go up for many reasons. When we say public safety, I think one of the other things that first come to mind is law enforcement. And with Thaddeus's piece about antenna, as a Black man, can your antenna go up in reference to public safety around law enforcement? It could, but also it's interesting to be in your own neighborhood. Evelyn refers to the neighborhood, but even in our own neighborhood sometimes. And some people have had this conversation, and it's part of that hard conversation as well. And a lot of, all lives matter and supremacists, try to use it as a pushback when they start talking about, I don't want to say Black, when they start talking about how within our own community, we have violence against one another. That's a hard conversation we need to have as well. And so them antennas can go up, like Thaddeus said, for various reasons. Maddie Deed is saying public safety means being safe no matter where I am, and the help provided makes me feel safe. The help provided. We may come back to that. Heidi is saying public safety to me is being safe from physically, emotionally, and mentally in my neighborhood. Well, comprehensive definition. Dina, going a little bit deeper, is saying it has to be a collective: parents, schools, police, and all those in between, to work to develop better relationships. Maria is saying, I will always consider Boston home. Feeling safe for me means having the ability to trust people. I like that. Teresa is saying, not feeling like you are a target wherever you, that part. Dina is saying, no matter where I am always on alert. My eyes are on everyone. And so that's an interesting perspective as well, because when you talk public safety, I think in everything we have self-accountability and our ability to be aware, to not put ourselves as much as possible in situations where our safety, is at risk, from everything from, those that drink to not drinking and driving, to, after the club, if you park somewhere, not walking down a dark alley, man or woman, by yourself. And also, young women with their pocketbooks and things like that. So it is a wide net when we talk about public safety. And I'm not going to stay on this too long today, but we really have to own our part and still hold. Listen, I will never move away from municipal accountability. As much as I talked yesterday, I was in a meeting last night and didn't go too deep, but we can have municipal accountability. And so first is self-accountability. And I won't, rehash what I was saying yesterday, but there is a responsibility that we have to make sure that everything that we name today, we do our best for ourselves. And then as much as we can contribute to sort of the public safety. And sometimes it causes us to speak up. It will cause us, or challenge us to speak up rather. It will cause us to be intentional about plans and what we're doing. I mean, it's wide as much as often it is narrowed into one space of youth, guns, and gangs. Public safety is a very wide net. Dina is also saying, I can't help it. And Dina, I thought about that when I read your comment. And so it's trauma. I have been in so many situations where I had to be on alert. I shouldn't have to be that way. It's partly the world we live in now. And that is a reality, and so that's why I said it's wide. We talk about public safety and we get that narrow, sort of, most people may often reference to that narrow vein of youth and guns and whatnot, but it's women have different issues when it comes to public safety. The LGBTQ plus has different issues when it comes to public safety. Children have issues when it comes to public safety. Advocates, and I'm going to say this, policemen and EMTs have issues when it comes to public safety, especially police and like firemen, because they're putting themselves, quote unquote, at risk. And so the trauma that Dina speaks to, that's real. That is real, because I'll be honest, in certain situations, the shoulders go up. Sometimes a different swag comes out, because it's a level, unfortunately, of conditioning, I guess. And I'm thinking about this in real time from our life experience and the trauma. It's a level of conditioning that we deal with in order to self-preserve. Auntie Paula is saying self-accountability definitely comes first. Absolutely. Evelyn is saying, could public safety be the lack of resources? It contributes. And I mentioned this yesterday, Evelyn, when we start talking about public safety and violence prevention, we have to start talking about the root causes of it: systemic racism, lack of resources, lack of, and we touched on this yesterday, lack of what we would call good home training. And some parents not, for various reasons rather, having the ability to teach their children regard for life, manners, respect. Teresa is saying, being out in public is exhausting. You need eyes in front, back, each side of you, and 8 arms, especially if you're out with children. I just, for some reason, when I mentioned public safety and children, that sort of hit as well, because our children are preyed upon for various reasons. So especially our young people. Heidi said we got she has 2 tickets to We Move in Color tonight. Anyone want to go with her? And so please hit Heidi up in her inbox if you would like to go to that event. My brother Josh, or kind of like Uncle Josh, is in the room. Too bad the city doesn't want to have some gang prevention. Josh. So Josh, this so there needs to be in full disclosure. Josh is someone that works in this space and is largely impacted by what's going on with SOAR. And so, but very involved and knows what's going on. And so Josh, I will say that there is a lot of ambiguity in the community. And I've communicated as recently as this morning to the administration that it is important that the public is definitely aware of plans around what's going on with SOAR and the office and things like that. So Josh, I've always, I'm going to go to Thaddeus' point in a minute. For me to try to be balanced in the fact that I don't think it's a city that it doesn't want to have some gang prevention programs. And the truth of the matter is, and I've talked about this with a couple of people, outside of like programs like yours and maybe SSYI, the community might be better served if the city with the big C supports and gives funding to programs that aren't limited by red tape that comes with being a city employee and a part of a union. Those that move in the space of violence prevention and public safety that were around when Street Safe started, and when Street Safe was sort of absorbed into the city, which a lot of people think that wasn't a good idea. That's came up in the last couple of days, to be very honest with you. Street Safe had more flexibility and could do more things because they weren't boxed in by a lot of what initially may have been framed as protections for union employees. Some of those things may need to be updated because a lot of that union stuff, I'm not going to go there. So Josh, I get the sentiment. I definitely get the sentiment. Let me go to Thaddeus's point where he was agreeing with me and saying public safety is so broad. Do you feel safe on your phone? So then there's now internet safety. I didn't even think about that. So walk through downtown. And Heidi, let me know what you mean there. Josh is saying definitely due to lack of info and lack of resources, to kind of Evelyn's point. Heidi is saying walk through downtown last night and so she walked through downtown and was on alert the whole time. And it's not that, so Heidi raises a good point. It's not just in the hood, Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. Issues have happened, Southie, Westie, Rosendale, Everett, Worcester, Springfield, Chicopee, Woburn. Structure is so important. Infrastructure, if you will, if I could put that out there as well. Isaiah, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. Teresa is saying absolutely not. Great point. I'm so far behind with these comments. Things just need to be ran differently, essentially. And I agree. And so let me not appear that I'm trying to cap for the admin, but this isn't even just this admin. Public safety, though, has a law enforcement. When you think public safety, you think the police department. There's the trauma piece. There's the human service side of public safety. And as I said before, Harvard professor that a lot of people around here are familiar with, know and love and respected her work, talked about the work of public safety being a public health issue. And so, Josh, when you're talking about structure and doing things differently, I believe the goal is moving. You got street workers, SSYI, you got what is that? Youth Opportunity. You have these entities within different departments with 85 supervisors, where if you consolidate, use and I was at a meeting last night and it was public. It was on the internet. It's a public meeting, so I can say it. One of the commissioners brought up last night that, some things can be executed by writing of a pen And cabinet and department heads have some flexibility to reallocate funds and move positions and focus. And so, Josh, to your point, my hope and belief, the goal is to get kind of this work under one umbrella and space. And I believe it is moving into the public health space because this is a public health / safety issue. Nicole is saying, I trust my mind and my gut. They always steer me right. Listen, always trust the gut. In most cases, the gut in situations like that, if your gut is sometimes, I'll use me, for example. Sometimes my gut can be filled with emotions. And so we want to balance that as well. Hi, Uncle Thaddeus. He's had to get me about that a few times. It wasn't the best idea to merge the two, I believe is what he's saying. Josh, I don't know because there's the whole union process that needs to happen. And I don't know what the end is going to be there. Pastor Marion, that's what the 10-Point Coalition used to do in collaboration with the churches. Yep. Josh is saying East Boston and other areas and everywhere. Absolutely. Like I said yesterday, this isn't just a local issue. It's a national issue as well. And so from Chicago to Little Rock to San Francisco to everywhere, there is an issue when it comes to public safety. I was talking to Dr. Falk the other day, and he said, will we ever be a city with only 3 homicides? Probably not. But it doesn't mean that we don't work towards getting to 0, not 3, 0. So there's a lot there. Dina is saying, I'm not sure what it takes, but seems to me that many of the ones working the SOAR program, they can start a nonprofit to continue the work in the way that they believe it works. And so, Dina, you make a good point. And to be very honest, I was around and in the administration when Street Safe started. That was part of the philosophy in Street Safe starting and having that sort of flexibility so they could do the work the way they knew how. They employed folks with quarries. And I know, a couple of people had an opinion about that. And let's be very honest and transparent. There were some cases where circumstances led to some of these youth workers appearing to have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the game or the street. But all in all, for SOAR as well, we got to give credibility to where they've done some good work and stopped some things. And Leroy Peoples is a part of SOAR. Talia Rivera is a part of SOAR in the most recent iteration. And so Street Safe was one of those organizations to which Dina is kind of referring and talking to. It was under the Boston Foundation. I got a meeting coming up soon. Thank you, Dina, because this might need to be on the agenda. I work overnight in Chinatown, and it's crazy. Yeah. That area used to be very, very crazy. I'm going back to what we used to call the combat zone days back in the day. But Isaiah, stay safe there and be careful, man. And then you have these certain faces that are in position that Josh. And then you have these certain faces that are in position that in return kind of tarnish the images of what is wanted to portray. I'm going to leave that right there. Sharon said the first gut feeling, go with that one. Josh is saying, man, listen, none of you know what the end will, none of us know what the end will be at. Absolutely. And I'm caught up with comments. There's a conflict of interest when you bring the nonprofits in working for the city. And so it can be done. It can be done to where the city it's been done. Mayor Menino used to do it. My understanding is that Marty did it in a space around violence prevention here. The city, through its own funding, through grants, and also through the power of the mayor's office, can garner funds to nonprofits to do the work. Where it gets sketchy is that, and I believe Dina's point was, you all leave, become an independent nonprofit, and then maybe partner with the city or go after other grant funding to do the work as you all see fit through your life experience and how you all think it should be done, that it's most impactful. And so it can be done, Josh, through a point of proper, and there's, ethics and all that other stuff that I'm learning about being on that commission. I got a whole folder with a stack of stuff I need to really be well versed in. The guardian angels. So there's a few opinions about the guardian angels, but I do remember them. And at least when they were present, I don't think people would act up as much. Some people, may have taunted them and, oh, who are y'all? But their presence in them red jackets and the what do you call the thing? The berets. They had an impact. But didn't they get kicked out of? Wait. All right, I'm not going to go there. But there was something that happened with them in Boston a few years ago. Uncle Thaddeus, I'm sure you come from law enforcement. What happened with them a couple of years ago? I don't remember. So it's interesting that both of you all. So generally with public safety, having any well-organized, working in collaboration with the community and law enforcement entities that want to step up and have because sometimes just being present can stop some things. I'm not promoting or discrediting the guardian angels, but I would say to that area that we tend to move towards when it comes to youth, guns, and retaliatory violence. I don't think the guardian angels would be the most wise decision in that space. But like in places that Isaiah talks about in being downtown and Chinatown and, walking the beat. But then this is also where the police come in to an extent. And that, yeah. Naraki is saying, always trust your gut. We have taught our children not to trust their guts, but if you trust it, it will keep you safe. Interesting. Leslie is saying, I remember them. Josh is saying it definitely can be done. It's just frustrating when these programs are put into place and the programs aren't being used in full capacity. Agreed. That's why years ago, Josh, we was calling for like the city and the state to do an assessment, to do not an assessment. Yeah, an assessment of who was getting money, what was their impact, bring in young people that have been serviced by them and find out, are they just good grant writers? Are they part of the good old boys club and got the hookup as soon as the money came in? Some of that still needs to be, some of that still needs to be done, and I believe it is to some extent being done this new administration. Teresa's Naraki is saying, Teresa, yes, my uncle said Saeed Jamal was one. Let the community get paid to do the work since we're the ones that care more and not sit at home. So that's interesting because that was one of the things that came out of We Need to Know. We pushed and worked with the Health Commission that we learned in the We Need to Know meeting that at the end of the day, it was Aunt Sally and Uncle Joe that seen Jermaine get shot in the street. They called the police or the ambulance and they went down and held their hand until the police got there. And so out of that We Need to Know meeting in 2018, 20 positions, and I believe it's higher now, and I believe it's still active, that there were people in the city that wanted that could be trained in trauma and then got paid on a per diem basis. And so in that vein, again, violence prevention, we tend to go to this first and more, but we did have an impact there. And so Guardian Angels, I believe, was voluntary. So I don't know if they're going to get paid there. But, as we get ready to wrap up, we just want to be cognizant of the changes that are going on. And my understanding is, and I mean, Josh is in here and one of the workers and can attest to the fact that despite what may be going on at this level, my belief and hope and trust in those that are in those positions that are still doing the work and connected with these young people. One, the program's not been disbanded. They're going through a process of informing the union. It had to be public, but the work, my understanding is the work is still going on. And so, yeah. To Josh's point, again, and the programs get significant amounts of money from the city, but it's not public knowledge to know how the funds are being distributed or allocated. Comes to one A word, accountability, which is being thrown around so casually lately that it's losing its impact. Opal, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Isaiah, I personally saved a person's life while police just watched. Thank you, sir. Keep yourself safe as well. Localized Black Panthers. So that is it. I believe there's the new Black Panther Party. I don't know if they're active here. But that model was impactful. And it comes back. So this is what I said yesterday. That type of model brings an automatic level of proactive accountability, follow up, feeding, food, taking care of giving healthy food choices. There was education, protection, promotion of Black history, education. And so that's that village stuff that we were talking about. And it just is so interesting now that I'm not totally I don't doubt that we can get to some place like that. My concern is that we may get there by force, maybe not. We just had a world pandemic, and it did some stuff. But as the vaccination came out and we going back outside, some of the normalcy that a lot of us didn't want to get back to, guess what? We're sitting right smack dab in the middle of normal's lap. So, all right, my shoulders are up. So that means, this could go either way. And so I had to look in the camera at myself and just like I'm in the mirror. Sister Leslie, I posted one of my poems on my page about this very thing. First line is, the power is in fulfilling your purpose, not behind a gun. How and the best way to communicate that to the brothers and some sisters that are involved is key. And I think that's where on that second tier, this is going to be a hard statement and people are going to critique anyway. So, if home does not do that first, then I won't say the responsibility. The hope is that second tier of teachers, pastors, aunties, uncles are doing that. But that is a paramount message that needs to be reverberated throughout our community about our worth and value. One, for self, and two, for folks that won't understand it and still feel that they have no other choice to shoot. They also need to understand their own, but the value of the life that they're about to or attempt to take or hurt. So, Sister Leslie, that definitely was deep. The homes need resources. And Josh, I mean, again, yesterday we talked about this. That notion that it starts at home is real. The notion that systemic racism and poverty and other things have led to issues like the crack epidemic and fathers not being in the home post the civil rights movement. And the only way that the mom could get a check if the man wasn't there, and if they weren't married, then if they were married, the belief was that he could work and they couldn't get no support. So that term, Papa wasn't Rolling Stone, started happening because he couldn't stay the night there because the worker was coming. A little far-fetched in some summation and telling a story, but there's some credibility and validity to what I'm asserting there. And so all the homes are not conducive to producing positive contributors to society. Facts. And so that's where that government and second tier and community comes in. And do we need to go back and having mother mentors or mentoring mothers? I don't know, but shoot, I'm stuttering. So that's a village thing. We can work with the commission around a mom's program and they can get some funding and do the training and, collect formula and Pampers and work with their corporations to get resources. But the initial of training a woman how to be a mother and a father, how to be a father in speaking in the traditional mother-father heterosexual family unit model, that comes from the village. Comes from home and the village. So y'all get me in trouble. Teresa said, okay, I got to go back up. Y'all, Leslie said, I keep my children busy and off the streets. Josh is saying the village doesn't help with the youth because the families don't want to be told what to do or be a part of the system or in the system, because there's some validity that the system has screwed some of our families because they have people working there that don't understand what's going on, our culture, and what you may see, no harm to the child, but what you may see is really no harm to the child. It's just the way that folks rig life together. As long as there's no harm to the child or the family, that's valid. Community centers help. They do. It's legit 50-50. I would say 60-40 if you're talking about home and then the second tier. The 60, it does start at home. But or if you're saying that the 50-50 is the responsibility of home not being home not doing what it should, 50%, but it's 50% of because of the systems. Let me know clarify for me there what you mean by that, Josh. Teresa is saying hurt people hurt people. Public safety is equal housing, foods. I used to hear this term a lot. Dr. Falk used it the other day when he was on. Root causes of public safety issues as far as like violence. And now when it comes to violence against women, domestic violence, trans women and children, these three, these two areas here of equal housing and food security. Some of these folks had equal housing and good food and still assaulting women and children and trans women. So I just want to put that balance out there, Heidi, with understanding fully what you meant by that. Big brothers and sisters is definitely a good model. Having mentors, period. I agree with that. Kelly is saying, Josh, my son been on a waiting list for years for a man mentor. They have nobody. Shaking my head. And I thought that when I saw that. I remember some years ago, they were saying there was a shortage of what they call bigs, the adults, the mentors. And there was a shortage around that. Village, parents, teachers, coaches, etc. have to be with one accord. I say with one accord, Sister Leslie, because the problem is too many of us are standing on the cord and the juice can't flow because we standing on it, having conversation and talk about who's going to be first. So we got to be with one accord. Just my little preach there. Donna is in the room. I'm going to get to her in a minute. Heidi is saying truth to Teresa. Donna Williams-Bowman, no one can be taught to be a parent. You can be shown and given techniques. So parenting skills. I agree with Donna there. And Donna, I had tagged you to ask you to check out. Yes, I started to tag you, Leroy, and a couple of other people around this conversation around public safety. That I'm moving, and you, someone who's hit me up here and there, hey, you doing? We need to know. I'm moving a little bit differently, because we need to know is not do well. As you said, you had wished more people showed up in the last meeting. Good to see you in the room, sis. And thank you for the work you do in the community. Isaiah, you have a blessed day as well. And I'm going to get ready to wrap up, y'all. I've been long-winded this week. You can go either way, bro. 60-40 is probably the best way to think of it. Heidi is saying, been through domestic violence. I get it. Absolutely. There's so much gray area in these topics. You can't pinpoint one problem. And that's the thing that is just very honestly with you all. That is the thing that is, it just, for people that move in this space where it's no longer their job, but they care. And as much as they prayed and asked God to take it, it's so hard. It's often hard to deal with what Josh said here, because that gray area is in understanding and knowing that, and understanding, I referenced to, moving differently. That's through maturity. That is through maturity, because though we got some stuff done, fussing and cussing and going live and using the F-bomb toward the mayor and all that, there was more done when there was a hospitable exchange. Didn't disagree, but there was a hospitable exchange. And let me also put this out there real quick and just say this based on what I was talking about in the beginning of the show. Just like I don't know what everybody's doing behind the scenes, everybody doesn't know what I'm doing behind the scenes, the texts and the phone calls that are sent. Hey, y'all want to move on this a little more aggressively, so I just needed to just get that out. Leave that there. Donna Hush. Because it just, this is I told somebody this morning, this is growth and maturity. Because 2 or 3 years ago, what went on at the Burke and what went on, what's going on, period, y'all know this would be there'd be a little bit different cadence in my voice. But in learning and aware, and then also understanding a lot of the nuances that aren't public. Fortunately or unfortunately, being aware of some of those things does influence the approach. So I'm getting ready to wrap up, y'all. It's 9:49. I got to check in with props later and do some other stuff. Don't forget, on Monday at 2 p.m., we will be at Savor. Yours truly is getting the Helping Hands Award, which is so hands, because I don't do nothing with my hands in the space, but just hit the buttons and stuff. But the national movement around creating more Black economic power around the sort of Tulsa, Black Wall Street model, there's a national movement, and the Boston chapter or group is having its first champagne award ceremony. And that's going to be on Monday at 2 p.m. at Savor. Tickets are $65. I understand that. I'm mentioning it because I just want to mention it, let you all know. But I don't want to overtax people, so no pressure. But if you plan on coming, please let me know so I can let them know to put these names at my table. All right. My mom was gifted with the ticket. I'm not going to say by who right now, but you know who you are. And we'll just leave that there. All right. I'm going to get ready to go. Sister Leslie, I'll go check that out. Pastor Marion, thank you. Thank you. Stan, good morning, brother. Good to see you in the room. I was looking for you Saturday, man. I seen you on the reg list. I was looking forward to gripping you up. Pastor Marion, thank you. That was definitely timely. Auntie Paula, thank you so much. Sister Leslie, thank you. Paula Kelly, but in a good way. Let me go see what she said up there. Auntie Paula, but in a good way, thankfully. I think maybe talking about how my cadence has changed or growth and maturity. I don't know. Price is right. Lord, and gummy bears. Lord have mercy. I just put your comment up about them during gummy bears. Anyway, folks, thank you for what's today? Today's third. I get y'all see how excited I get when I realize it's my Friday, and I love what I do. I love this conversation, but I think just that last day of the week where I can just kind of like chill is good. And so today is Thursday. We will not be back with you until I will be with you Monday. We're going to give Dr. Brandy the day off. It's a holiday. I don't need to be at Savor until the afternoon. So we will be here Monday morning at 9 a.m. I don't think there's anything going on over the weekend. Oh, so we were tentatively going to go to the MFA on this Saturday. Keys got COVID. I was in Miami. She needed to take care of herself. That was coordinating it. And so just in the last couple of days, we got the email together. We reached out to confirm with Sister Charlotte. And in the meantime, Sister Charlotte got her some tickets to go see the drum show that Heidi and Boston Wild Black is going to tonight. And so we're not doing it this Saturday. And so we're going to circle back with Sister Charlotte and then go. And she emailed us and said, hey, my pictures and we're also going to support Uncle Thaddeus, who has 21 pictures being featured. And Charlotte hit us up. Her husband mentioned it to me at the conference last week. Hey, her picture is just on a screen that pops up every 30 minutes. So what? We'll wait 30 minutes. And all of us will line up in front of a few screens. And when it pops up, we'll take pictures and celebrate Sister Charlotte for her being a part of that MFA exhibit, along with Uncle Thaddeus, that has some photos there as well. So we'll get that back out to you. I think that is it. Please also remember to please get people to plan to come into the room. Invite people, start mentioning it on Tuesday, October. Hold on, y'all. I think it's the 18th. Tuesday, October 18th for the third Tuesday edition of Your Healthy Java. My sister, Dr. Beverly, I think it's Dr. Beverly Moy and someone, we're going to talk about breast cancer, as this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so I really want you all to hear my sister's experience and story, hear Dr. Moy, and also the Ellie Fund will be a part of that as well. And so we're doing the recording at MGH, and they sent me the space and the backdrop for this interview. It's going to be a very powerful interview, y'all. So please plan on being here. And glad you're in the people's corner. Yes, ma'am. Miss Teresa, thank you. Yes, I think I speak for all of us. We are extremely proud of you. Thank you, Miss Teresa. So the comment you talked about was the price is right. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything before I get in trouble. I am wearing pink in the interview. So you all can wear pink on the 18th and being symbolic with my sister. But I'm wearing pink that day. Real men wear pink. So I'm wearing pink that day, Sister Leslie. All right, it's 9:55. Jesus Lord. I'm getting off of here. Heidi, you know what Bishop said. Stop taking off and then get ready to land and take off. I'm going. I'm not looking at no more comments. You all have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. It's a long weekend. Spend part of it with me on Monday at the event at Savor, the BICA Awards, the Boston chapter. Yours truly is receiving the Helping Hands Award. And so honored and humbled by getting an award, period. But yeah, so Monday's going to be interesting. I'm going to make sure I bring some tissue. All right, folks, have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you on Monday at 9 a.m. Thanks for tuning in. Love you all very much. And remember to stay thankful on this Thankful Thursday, just period and every day. All right, y'all. Peace.